Coming soon to this theater.
Meet Elizabeth.
I'm interested in you.
I don't do this for nothing.
Her business is pleasure, until her date with the Picts.
Those people who came to see me this morning, they're interested in you.
Today she has a date from which there is no return.
Ever noticed that before?
Yes.
It's a Picts. A Picts? What the hell's a Picts? Police, open it up.
Please just help me. What's going on, Meg?
I'm asking you simply to trust me and not to ask so many questions.
What's wrong?
Let me go.
There is no escape for Elizabeth. She has a date with the Picts. The Picts, rated R.
Welcome to Aunt Martha's King Edward Hotel. Hardly anyone ever checks in. Nobody ever checks out.
Now, I'm letting you stay here on one condition. That you promise not to wander around the hotel alone. This is no place for a little girl.
Alice!
Behind each door, there's a private terror. And at the heart of each terror
Cheryl?
are the private parts.
Cheryl? Oh, Cheryl!
In cases like yours, instruction is most important.
Follow Cheryl as she leads you through the darkest corridors of your mind. Private Parts, rated R.
Well, child, we sure hope you'll come back next week and watch two movies with us. Two that we've been waiting to do for a long time, and it's finally going to happen. It's going to happen next weekend. The Pix, starring Karen Black in what I sincerely believe is one of her best roles ever, and Private Parts, a stunning film.
You will believe a girl can fall in love with the boy who has her face on a blow-up doll that he likes to inject blood into, and they're the ones you cheer for.
It's just another slice of genius from Paul Bartel.
Oh, the best.
Gone too soon.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, great movie this week.
Oh my God.
I love the look of this movie. Like, I love that a lot of it is a set and feels artificial, which is probably why I love it even more. Also, that like it's always daytime in that castle, even when it's night.
You noticed that too. It
Yeah,
was just like the painting, the backdrop. I was like, okay, whatever. It's a painting, a backdrop, but they lit it up so brightly. It looked like it was, I don't know, like an overcast day, and it was about 5 in the afternoon.
the only thing Jane Asher got wrong was you don't put a jacket over your diaphanous nightgown. You you carry candelabra so we can barely see the outline of your boobs. That's what us gothic horror fans are. We're looking for classy, but we're looking
Classy.
classy. I'm like, what do you call Tales of Tree on Saturday Night Live when he was like, "No, this won't do. I want it to be daring, but I don't want it to be filthy. Keep it ribbled." Also, I'm still trying to get sponsored, Bill. So another Liquid Death. We're drinking a Grim Leafer tonight. That's kind of appropriate for this movie.
Maybe Acid can sponsor us too,
Ooh.
since I'm mainly smoking their cigars on the show.
Yeah.
I prefer the Acid Cuba Cuba,
Ooh.
but any old acid will do.
Yeah.
And I also smoke Punch.
Oh, I've had Punch before. Yeah.
I think we talked about that before. That was like my all the time cigar. That's the only thing I ever smoked was Punch. Then I discovered these.
Wonderful.
Anyway,
don't forget, if you follow me on Letterboxd, you can get a list of all the movies we've shown, as well as a list that you can comment on that we add requests to all the time for future movies, and as well as many strange lists for all sorts of stuff, as well as my reviews that you don't get on they're also on BNS Spot Movies. But if you're a Letterboxd follower, and you should be, because how would I keep up with all the movies I've seen? That's how I keep up with them. I use it all the time. So, but this movie looks even more beautiful today because there's so few, nothing's shot on film anymore. Almost everything's digital, and just the look of this, the richness of the colors. A monkey gets set on fire. There's a lot. You mentioned it while we were watching it. Her hair looks amazing in this too. Like,
oh my God, what was up with her hair?
Oh,
it was just, she was supposed to have been from the village, and yet she had this elaborate hairstyle. She walked like very, she had poise. She was not someone who lived in a little village that it was easy for them to burn down in one afternoon. I mean, come on. How about how fast it went up too?
It took like seconds to go up. Like, what were they doing? Like, everything was already covered with it was like straw and lighter fluid. That's what that village was made out of.
They were poor. Okay, that's all they had.
And her boyfriend, he's not going to keep her. He's just very soft, it seems.
Yeah, he had no backbone. Even Vincent Price knew it. Prospero.
Yeah. Prospero was trying to toughen her up, I think. Prospero's parties are pretty wild. You kind of like show up and you get diseases and you dance and you bleed all over the place. And sometimes monkeys get burned up. And sometimes he just throws jewels to you for no reason. There ain't no party like a Prospero party, is what I'm saying to you.
Prospero party don't stop.
Well, until everybody dies, and then yeah.
Okay, technically it did stop.
Plus, you can come up and like try to wake him up when he's sleeping, and then run like an idiot away from him. What was she doing? Man. I don't know. It's all good. This is a great movie. I wish that I was back in a rainy car watching it at the drive-in again. What a It's a memory that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life watching this at the drive-in.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Friddle and Ray posted a still from Equinox
Mm.
the other day, and I commented on it. I said this was like another drive-in, and I referenced the Monsterama.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was maybe the first time I saw Equinox.
Oh, wow.
Was on a drive-in screen.
Wow.
And I feel like I might have seen it on TV. I don't really remember.
I love Equinox because, well, one, it's Evil Dead, but two, I love it. I love it because, or Evil Dead is Equinox, I should say. But also, like, instead of zombies all the time, you get crazy stop motion creatures, and it's so good. I'm a big fan of that's why I love Luigi Cozy movies, because I'm like, someone said today I was at this party, Bill, and someone said, I recommend movies. I really like science fiction. I'm like, you should watch Star Crash. And then halfway through it, I was like, oh, they're gonna hate it. Like if they
of course they're gonna hate it.
They're like, what? Like, do you like
I love it.
Yeah, do you like stop motion? Not really. Do you like David Hasselhoff? No. Like, do you like young teen preachers who become movie stars with giant afros? Maybe. You better love Carolyn Monroe or this conversation's over. So, yeah, that's kind of how it went. They're like, oh, I've never seen that. I'm like, don't worry.
Star Crash was an absolute delight.
How gorgeous did that look with all the most colorful galaxy there's ever been?
It was like Christmas in the cosmos.
Oh.
And Caroline Monroe had you over to her house on Christmas. Wasn't that nice of her?
It was super nice. She had a cowboy robot that she was friends with, and they both took a nap while snow came down, while they were holding hands and sharing their body energy.
She's a mess.
100% of Star Crash is absolute bullshit. There's so much bullshit in it, but that's why I love it, because like at some point you're just like, I love this is how I described to this person. I said, imagine if an Italian filmmaker read a book about Star Wars but never saw it, and they said, you should make this, and he said, okay. And this is what he made. But he really made Flash Gordon. And that's what I'm here for. Also, Bill, I forgot to tell you, the Flash Gordon figure that I got you, there's a new one coming out for San Diego Comic-Con. And it is it comes with the tree from it. And it comes with the monster that lives in the tree and a dirty version of Flash so that he can reach in and see if his arm goes in.
Ew.
I don't know if there's ever been a toy I wanted more in my entire life. So,
is there going to be a toy that, you know what toy I want is? I want a toy that demonstrates what is actually happening at that initiation ceremony that we never see, but we hear this man in the background, like basically having an orgasm. I want to know what that was.
Well, that's what happens after if you survive, everybody blows you, and you get to join the Prince Baron's men. I don't see any women on Arborea.
Oh, Aura's there. Remember, she says, "I love initiations."
She's the only woman there, and she
pick
also
that up, will you?
My favorite line that she says in the whole movie, you know it, is, "No, Daddy, not the bollworms."
Not the bollworms.
The bollworms.
Well,
but that was my favorite
too. She like shudders. She's like, he's like, Clytus with the bollworms on me.
My favorite part of Star Crash, I think, I don't know who said it. Someone's like, it's War Rocket Ajax, and which is a great name for a ship. Man, they should play Flash Gordon at the drive-in, Bill. I know it's a little populist, but I would be great to see on the drive-in screen.
I would certainly have no objections.
Yeah.
Although I did see Flash Gordon full screen right when it came out.
I did too. I saw it 3 times the first day. I would not let my parents leave the theater. I'm like, we should watch that again. And we just kept going back. The second time I saw it, I yelled during the sword fight, "Kill Ming." My mom was like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm very excited. I was like, I was 8. Of course I'm excited. It's the best movie I've ever seen.
Kill Ming.
Surely this movie is going to be a big success and everybody's going to love it as much as Star Wars. I said, nope. Tracy, there was a Clytus figure that came with 2 heads, one normal head and one with his eyes and tongue popping out. An incredible toy.
Thanks to Damon Brazil for that intro music for this segment. Sun Demon.
wonderful.
Go check out his channel. There's lots of good stuff on there.
Yeah, I put the
The
link.
modern day Cramps.
Oh, it is great. I love his stuff. How great is it that the Queen album starts with Clytus? I'm bored. That it has that whole speech part. Oh, man.
The Orb had a track that started out like that too. Do you remember?
No. Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was on their first album. That whole speech where he's like, "What plaything can you offer me today?" And it goes up to him like activating that ring or something.
I will tell you, at the end of the movie, when they teased the sequel with the question mark on the end, I was like, surely they're going to make a sequel.
They were planning on it.
Oh man. Yeah, I have I don't have many pictures with celebrities. I have what's her name from Star Crash and Sam J. Jones. Those are the two celebrities I think that I have pictures with. 'Cause he came to the Warhol to show it, which was amazing to go to the Warhol and see Flash Gordon. How wild is that?
Wow. Why didn't I go to that?
I don't know. What's funny is we went with our one friend Jeff, and he had never. I had told him for years how good Flash Gordon was, and he would never watch it. He's like, "It's cheap, it's stupid," and I'm like, "Okay." And after it was over, he was like, "That movie's great," and I'm like, "I've been telling you for like 30 years how good it is," and he's like, "Yeah, I just didn't believe you because I know you like such bad movies." Thanks.
Bad movies.
I hate.
It was always bad.
It's so bad, it's good. Shut up. Just enjoy things for what they are. But I think Flash Gordon's great. Now, if Mario Bava had made it, which was one of the rumor things, or Nicholas Rogue, actually, the cinematographer of this movie was supposed to do Flash Gordon. It's still great, but I can't even imagine if they made it. But I love the idea of it. The thought about Flash is great. It's like, should we make this look real? You know, like the ships in Star Wars look very realistic. They're dirty. They're beat up. You know what I mean? And like, it's the first time we saw ships like that in movies. And Flash Gordon, they're like, what if we just made everything this bright?
And then Alien.
Yeah. And Alien. Yeah, definitely with Alien. And then with Flash Gordon, it's as bright as it can get. Like, I love that there's a little person named Fellini in Ming's court, that little guy. There's a football fight in the first 10 minutes. Like, it's so good.
This movie that we watched tonight, Mask of the Red Death, looked so beautiful. You just mentioned Nick Rogue.
Yeah.
Nick Rogue, as you called him. Is he U of M grad Nick Rogue?
We're friends. We're good friends. I was
Cool.
I was in the Man Who Fell to Earth when I was 6 months old, so that's how we met.
Oh, you did the Space Baby for David
I was the
Bowie.
Space Baby, yeah, yeah.
So,
I love the scene at the end with all the different aspects of death walking together with that quote coming over. And you know what? I had, for some reason, didn't remember those cards at the end. We were talking about how, the cards getting dealt with the credits. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Just like that, and a lot of time went into that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because it took up some time in the movie, but
No,
that was like 2 or 3 minutes.
This movie also feels, effortlessly art directed. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it has a lot of work in it, but never do you feel like, oh, it's so like there's so much work in this. Like, you just watch it and you're like, yeah, this all just works together so well.
Well, there is something phony about it, but I think that
That's what
works
I
for
like.
it.
That's
Like,
what I
it's
like about it. Yeah.
yeah, it's got like this weird storybook look to it, especially the castle. It looks
Yeah.
like something you would see in a fairy tale, even though it's so like disturbing what they
That's what I
actually do
like
in
about it. It's like a very like a I guess an adult fairy tale, but also like fairy tales originally were super downbeat. You know what I mean? So like that's kind of how this feels too. It feels like, it's got a moral at the end.
Yeah, and I love how they were like death held reign over all. Well, except for 6 people.
Yeah.
It's almost all, who's splitting hairs with death.
It's just like we talked about Noah in the first segment of there were like 4 or 5 people on his ship and now they repopulate everything. It's the same way in this.
The 6 will go on.
They will. It only takes
That was the most well-behaved child I've ever seen.
Oh. Yeah. What a good baby.
She just sat there.
I also love that whenever Death has that flower and he puts his hand over it and you see that little animation, like that's really cool. But yeah, beautiful movie, and you know, I dig it, and I always say, okay, check that off your bingo card. But I'm kind of torn. I like Pit and the Pendulum just as much as this for different reasons. Pit and the Pendulum feels more dirty and like gross. Plus, you have that great shot of Barbara Steele's eyes looking out into from her prison. But
Oh, poor Barbara. Don't lock Barbara Steele up.
don't put Barbara Steele in a don't put Barbara Steele in a corner.
Don't hurt her.
Yeah. Tracy asked, "What was with that child that was dubbed over with an adult woman?" That's the Italian influence in this movie.
That was so weird. I
Yeah.
have to say, like I didn't really pay much attention when they were just dancing, but then he had that scene with her. And
Yeah.
what was supposed to be their relationship anyway? Was she supposed to be an adult?
Oh,
I couldn't figure it out.
yeah, I think she's supposed to be an adult. She's supposed to be an adult little person, but like you said, like where are we gonna find one that can dance and that can act? And like let's just get a kid and we'll just dub her voice.
I mean, they were probably just not going to spend that much time trying to cast that role. So
Yeah.
they were like, let's do it this way.
Yeah, let's just do it this way. But yeah, everybody in this is good too. It's I'm all for bright gel colors. That's what I love. If you give me some fog, gel colors, setting a village on fire, uh, wandering around a castle, candelabras, they should have been lit, but there was a great screaming sequence. Also, they give her, we talked about it, they give her acid. And like, was that what she took? Like, for that
What
little
I
drug
want to
sequence?
know what that was. Like she had a big glass of it too. It looked like I thought it was blood,
Yeah.
but
Maybe
whose? Like, and why did it make her trip?
we thought Satan is an acid head, and maybe that's what it was. Uh,
I've
Like,
heard
how do
that.
you go back to living in the village after you've been through this night? Like, we've talked about the Halloween problem where 40 years later, they're all people in a karaoke bar ruining things for everybody. But, like, this is even more insane. Do you know what I mean? It's like she did acid. She was with Vincent Price. Do you know what I mean? Like, all this stuff. Oh, they got her at short notice. Good one. That's a great quote. um, but, they
Hey,
put
where's my sound effects thing?
But they did, she's been through all this and she's gonna go back to that kind of dumb boyfriend. Like she's seen the city. She can't go back to the farm now.
Yeah, that was just not going to happen. And I mean, she fit in so well. Again, I don't know why she fit in so well with them.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was in the script, but it was just so jarring to see her. And they burned the village to the ground. So where was she going to go anyway?
Are they gonna live in the castle now? I mean,
I wouldn't have left there.
yeah.
I'd be like, get all these fucking bodies out of here now.
Yeah. It's like they would have got a wheelbarrow like Monroeville Mall and just take them all, wheel them out.
Be like, look, you're death. You can make these people disappear, and then we'll just live here in peace.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they should do. Who knows? Hey, where's our sequel to this movie? Like, how do we see the? How do we? What is the next round? Like, what is the end game of this?
I want to see that happen.
Yeah, like that's my pitch. That's my pitch.
Dustin Ferguson can make Mask of the Red Death too.
Yeah, he's making a new Spider Baby. I mean,
Spider Baby too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of like. Speaking of movies, Bill, not to talk about our movie for a second.
Speaking of movies,
but I watched The First Omen this week, and guess what? I loved it. Have you seen it? I
saw how much you loved it all over Facebook.
I really loved it. Like I was shocked how much I liked it. But I think you're gonna like it because it's like, hey, what if we just made The Omen into Suspiria and Possession? Like there's literally a 5-minute scene that is 100% ripped off from Possession, and I'm all for it. And I really liked it. It's like got some really cool looking scenes in it. There's a lot of Rosemary's Baby in it. Yeah, it's fun, but a lot of Suspiria. To the point where you're like, wow, is she going to a dance school or is she going to become a nun? I can't really tell.
You can never put too much trust in bloodhounds.
And Ralph Innes from the father from The Witch, his father Brennan, in it. So it has like a tie to it, but they kind of switch I kind of like how they switch up the mythology where she ends up having two babies, one being a female and the other being Damien. And whenever they're like, one's a girl, and everybody's like, no, because like they want it to be the Antichrist, and like the other is a boy, and then that's when the first time in the movie where you hear the Jerry Goldsmith Ave Santana song start, and like I literally jumped off the couch and started running around the room. Becca was like, yes, it's fine, it's good. Like she totally wanted to hate it, and like 20 minutes into it, she's like, this is pretty good. It also has built a lot of like the Omen wacky deaths that you're hoping for.
It better.
Yeah. Oh, someone gets a pipe through the top of their head and walks around until they realize a pipe is sticking through their spine, and blood just starts pouring out of their body. It's great.
Ew.
Yeah. It's nothing as good as nothing as good as David Warner's death or
Yeah.
the elevator death. The second movie just drops all pretenses and like, you know what? What if we just made a slasher? And every time someone finds out that Damien is the devil's son, they get like trapped under ice, or like, which is the most horrifying scene when those kids are playing hockey and you can see that kid
Yeah.
under the ice. And I love
Well,
the Omen
you
too.
mentioned the elevator scene. Is that what you meant, where Meshach Taylor gets cut in
Mhm.
half?
That
It was
scene
really
too.
terrible. You know,
Yeah.
there's this video on YouTube. It's hard to find. I can never find it because it's got a weird title.
Mhm.
But it was an uncut print of Omen 2.
Oh,
And you could see like a couple extra seconds of gore in all of the death
oh,
scenes. And Meshach Taylor's death is really gross because like you can see his intestines and his
oh.
innards come out.
That movie is so mean spirited to everybody.
Yeah.
It's really good. Um, yeah. So now I obviously like I'm kind of I love the Omen, but I probably like the second one better. But I really liked the prequel. It's fun. Like there's no reason it should be as good as it is. Like like you know what I mean. It's like a prequel to a movie that everybody loves, and like there haven't been any good ones of it. There is a great spoiler, but there's a great cut in half scene in it, Bill, where the boy that she's in love with gets hit, even though she's a nun, right? Gets hit by a car, and she's like, "Just hold me." And he goes, "The ambulance is coming," and she's holding him, and she steps back, and he like literally splits in half, and she's just holding his top half, and his just everything's pouring out of him. I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is awesome." uh, that's exactly what I want out of this movie. Yeah, pretty good. So yeah, I'm gonna watch Immaculate, which I haven't seen yet, and I heard it's kind of good to watch both of them together. I also I'm going to watch Book Report for next week, The Strangers Part One. I do not want to see it, but I'm like I kind of have to see it, you know. So there'll be that.
You feel obligated?
I feel obligated because there's three of them, so I feel obligated to watch all three. Also, the other big news this week, Bill, I totally forgot the dude who did House of Usher for Netflix and Doctor Sleep. He's doing the Exorcist, the next Exorcist movie.
I heard.
They're letting him do whatever he wants. Will this be successful? Like instead of David Gordon Green doing another one, we'll see.
Well, you know, do you think one day we're going to look back at Believer like we did with Exorcist 2 and say, you know, that movie is like really actually brilliant?
Maybe, but probably not.
Because that is why we say we like Exorcist 2, is that it just did its own thing and it didn't care what kind of a sequel anybody wanted. It just gave.
I felt like Believer. I was
weird.
watching like a Blumhouse movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, but like, do you know what I mean? Like a Conjuring movie or something. And I didn't. There was no point where I'm like, what if we went to Africa and there were all these insects and James Earl Jones and I don't know.
There's a certain look that those types of movies have that come from Blumhouse and A24. And you know, think of like Borman did Exorcist 2, and it had a very idiosyncratic look to it that was unique to him. But it wasn't like a whole studio made movies like that.
Yeah. That's a good call. Bill will be back. Oh, there he is. Okay, you faded off me for a second.
It really was just one person's vision.
Yeah.
As opposed to a studio being behind it.
I think it's weird when a studio, well, I'm saying that we just watched an AIP movie, but I never feel like outside of the beach movies that AIP has like a set look or a set feel. You know what I mean? There's so many different movies and styles they did of whatever was hot. It's weird to me today, though, like you said, that these studios all have like a very similar look to their movies. Like you know what you're watching when you see one of them. But I'm tr- I remain eternally hopeful for movies, Bill, and that they will be good every time I watch them. Even
Sure.
Strangers Part One. Anytime you start a movie and you're like, "This is Part One," it's like let's not get big for our britches yet. Do you know what I mean? It's like, do you remember when you were a kid where like 6 months after Star Wars came out, suddenly George Lucas is like, "Well, that was Part 4," and you're like, "What?"
Yeah. I
Like
didn't
that's not
like
in there.
knowing that. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like that it's not in the original prints. Like it doesn't say episode. They redid the scroll and everything. I agree with Chris. Hammer had a distinctive look too.
Yeah.
Um,
You just knew you were watching a Hammer horror film.
Oh, I can't tell you a Saturday afternoon with Hammer movies when you're 10 years old. Could life be any better? Like honestly, like I think I probably should have died when I was 11 because I had already had like the best life of like just watching Hammer movies, and then I wouldn't get to all those adulthood disappointments. They'd be like, "Boy, he really died young." Yeah, but he got to watch a lot of Hammer movies when he was a young fat child, so he had a good life. That's what they would say about
I loved
me.
it. I mean, I even that young, I knew because I loved Horror of Dracula. That was my favorite
Hmm.
Dracula movie.
Yeah,
And I knew what movies looked like that. I'm like, well, this isn't that bad. It looks like Horror of Dracula.
I preferred Christopher Lee as Dracula as a kid.
Hmm.
Like that was my Dracula more than I. Yes, I know Bela Lugosi's awesome, but like to me, like I that's the Dracula that I wanted was Christopher Lee.
Yeah, I liked both. I loved Christopher Lee, but I did love Lugosi because that was just like the classic
Yeah.
depiction of Dracula. And it was just inescapable. I mean, that's what everybody used to represent Dracula in the United States. So
Hmm.
it was, that's what I grew up with. I looking at Lugosi. And then as soon as I saw Horror of Dracula, though, I was like, wow, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
The melting scene at the end. I was like, oh,
I'm more Lon Chaney than Oliver Reed, but I do like Oliver Reed as a werewolf. Uh, also, I like that Dracula gets killed by a tree in one of the movies, like that bush. Like, okay, yeah, sure,
that was one of the worst deaths that Dracula had in
yeah,
the whole. I think that was the last
oh,
one that Christopher Lee did.
yeah. You're just like, what are you doing? Uh, but
He walks into it himself.
I know,
I used to think
like,
that Van Helsing grabbed him and pulled him in there, but he didn't. Like Dracula just walks right into it.
what if? Can you imagine that meeting? Like, what if? Like Jimmy Sangster's like, I got an idea. What if Dracula walks into a bush? And they're like, yeah, and that's the end of the movie. Cool. That's what we'll do.
A bush killed him.
A bush. Who killed? How, it was a bush that killed the monster. It was not Beauty that killed the beast. It was a bush.
His death reminds me of that death in Frogs, where the
Oh
one
yeah.
guy ends up like in all those vines, and you're like, how did those
Hmm.
vines get wrapped around his limbs? Like it's like they're moving themselves, and that's what the thorn bushes do to Dracula. They're moving.
Oh, also the first when that guy gets a pipe through his head in the first Omen, a lot of stained glass falls, just like Suspiria, and I was like, oh man, that's some good shit. That's my favorite film death is like a girl ends up in a room filled with barbed wire. Sure. Why are we keeping that like this? Suspiria. You have no logic. And that's great. That's what we want. I can't imagine some American audiences that saw that and they're like, what? What? And yeah, exactly. He's gonna do another one right after it that makes even less sense. If
You'll never
if you're
get to
into
see
that.
it.
No, you'll never get to see it, but you'll see the trailer and be like, boy, I'd like to see that. Yeah. I just love the conceit of Suspiria. It's like Snow White and all these little girls go to school, and it's a dance school that wants to lure an American girl there to do something with her, and they're killing the students because they don't care about making money. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I'll do it.
Well, that defied most people's idea of a
Oh,
traditional narrative,
yeah.
Suspiria, even though it has the semblance of of a linear story, but you and I both know
That would be the best if they were putting it out. If it had your quote on it, the poster, it has the ...
the
semblance of a
semblance
normal
of a
story ...
linear story.
Bill Van Ryn driving us out.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like it,
Oh
it,
yeah, I
it
know.
has it has a story that you can follow, but it's so ridiculous that eventually you're
Yeah,
going to be like, and that turned a lot of people off that like to take things so seriously. You're like, oh, that
yeah.
movie didn't make any sense. Well,
That's
no, but
what I love about
probably
that. Like it should.
probably one you
I'm
like
a
doesn't make sense too.
I'm a fan of movies that don't make any sense. Yeah, Phil just said that's where his wife said, where is this and why is there barbed wire all over the place? Of course. Why are all the girls sleeping in the same room and the lady that owns the school is in a curtain right next to them? They can hear her going.
I just don't understand that scene at all, still to
Oh,
this
oh,
day.
I love it. More of that shit. Just like Inferno. Like, why does Mater Tenebrum show up at a college class while everybody's listening to headphones with a cat? I don't know. Fuck it.
She's
You know?
pretty.
She's super pretty. She's gorgeous. And you're like, she's the most gorgeous woman ever. And then it's like, okay, see ya.
And then in House by
Um,
the Cemetery, her head gets cut off.
oh, I know.
Isn't that
Cool.
her?
She was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, I love her. I love talking about Argento as much as I like watching his movies. I
Secret
like him.
Iris.
Bill and I were talking about Four Flies in Between. You guys missed this where that idea, like one, Bill loves Mimsy Farmer's scene at the end of that. I also love that Mimsy Farmer looks just like Argento's first wife, and like during in his book he says like when the lights came on in the theater after the premiere, she was crying. She's like, "You made a movie about how much you hate me." He's like, "You don't look anything like her. She looks exactly like Mimsy Farmer." And Argento says, I realized I looked a lot like the actor in that. He's like a 10. Argento gradually over the years numbers go down. He becomes quite a
Yeah.
frightening looking human being. But you also have to think like Argento also got uh, a girl who looks like Mimsy Farmer when he was young, and his second wife. Like he's done pretty well for himself over the years. So he's out kicked his average, let's say. So yeah, but yeah, Mimsy Farmer's awesome. What can I say? I that's something I have to bring up every few episodes. I have to legally do that.
So 22 viewers at
Yeah.
2:38 in the morning. So thanks very much to everyone for hanging out with us.
You want to see what came in the mail this week?
Sure, yeah.
I'm excited. MVD sent this. This is now I'm not even getting cases, but Eureka Entertainment is actually putting stuff out in the U.S. and the Valiant ones will be one of their first movies in the U.S. And then I got this from MVD. This is Blood and Snow, and Vernon Wells was in it. Pretty excited about that. And then I bought these today. I showed Bill. If you guys heard me on the Watchers a couple weeks ago, there is a Deathstalker comic in advance of the new movie. I got both issues of the first two issues that are out now. Really cool cover. The art's awesome inside. Tim Seeley is one of my favorite comic book writers, so super excited about that. Slash is actually the did this, and Steven Kostansky, the guy who did The Void and Psycho Gorman, will be directing the new Deathstalker. If it's anything like these books, it's going to be crazy. Like Deathstalker's old and like a complete moron in these, and it's a lot of fun. So I can't wait for the next movie. It would be Deathstalker 5, I guess. Will be the next one. So that's what came in the mail this week. I'm super excited to watch these. I'm a little behind on movies, but I watched the UHD A Crimson Peak today, which is great that Arrow put out, and that's one of my favorite movies. So it's really nice to have a beautiful copy of it now.
What did I do?
I disappeared.
I removed you from the stream.
No, Lola's sleeping behind me. She's like, let's talk about movies. So I will give you guys a tease for next week's episode of the podcast. How about that? if you guys are listening to my podcast, BNS About Movies, anywhere you
Jeez.
find podcasts. Next week is the first of I've never done a two-parter before. It's a two-parter. And you're like, Sam, you seem strangely obsessed by movies about a certain haunted house. Yeah. How come you haven't done an episode about those
Wonder
yet?
where this is going.
Yeah, good news. You're gonna get two in a row. One the good side, one the dark side. So that starts next week. And I just recorded like 5 more episodes. So including a couple movies Bill and I were like, oh man, that movie. I really forgot how ridiculous some of these movies are, especially as I'm pulling more dialogue and playing them in the episodes, and I couldn't stop laughing at one of them. Pretty
It's
great.
so good, isn't it?
A 1980 that movie, and also another Exorcist ripoff that Bill introduced me to. I remember one night he's like, "Have you ever seen this?" And then I'm like, "No." It was like again middle of the night. I put it on. And I was like shocked by how ridiculous it
Magdalena.
gets. Magdalena, yeah. Oh man, that movie is nuts. It also is like we've talked about before. It's like I like when people get possessed and they just like to swear at each other. That's the best part. Just when girls, it's just like Kathy's curse. Like she doesn't really get possessed as much as she just gets raped.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
that's their
yeah,
idea of possessed.
yeah. I like when she says, Kathy says, she's like, "You think you're a medium, but I think you're an extra large piece of shit." That's my favorite Kathy's curse line.
She's mean.
She's super mean. The meanest, right?
Nobody likes a nasty kid, Kathy.
Oh, she makes that poor drunk guy have snakes
I
all over himself.
know.
Like Kathy's like, what are her and like throughout that movie, I'm like, is she happy about being possessed or she doesn't want to be? Like the movie never really informs us. But does it have to? You know? Oh, also the Watchers that I was on, they had the producer of Spookies on this week in Street Trash. So that's pretty cool. Like it's a good get. So check them out. That's all I got right now at 2:35 in the morning. You got some ads though, huh? Or 2:43. Good lord.
I know. I do have some ads. I just pulled some random stuff for us to look at. I wondered if you remembered this one.
I'm not kidding. I'm gonna have to look on my phone.
Don't.
Sometimes I do.
Don't. I'll tell you. Okay, here are the people that are in it. I don't know if you can read that. Christopher.
I can't. I just see a black screen.
Oh, really?
Okay, the Possessor.
Yeah.
Is that the one I'm looking at? Christopher Lee.
Peter
I can't
Cushing.
read that. Peter Cushing.
Telly Savalas.
What is it?
Well, what movie were they in together?
Oh, the Nightmare Express.
Yeah, what's
Eric.
Horror
Eric
Express.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, this is from 1980.
Wow, I never saw
This
this.
is a retitling of Horror Express, which was probably in the public domain at this point. I'm not really sure, but anyway, this was not widespread. I could only find ads for it in Albuquerque.
It's also one of those ads too that like they didn't realize that when you put white type over black in newsprint, it blobs out. That's why some of those are so hard.
There's
to read.
actually an image there. Unfortunately, it's like the monsters. Half of the monster's face is in the ad, but you can't see it because of it's so blobby. I've never been able to find a great image of this ad. So there's a couple variations, but none of them really look any better.
Man,
I am obsessed with Monstroid.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Monstroid.
Oh, Sam, it's the stop motion monster in the lake.
I've never seen it then. Oh wow. Okay, I gotta watch it.
It's the most stupid looking monster you've ever seen in your life, and this movie is just amazing. John Carradine is in it.
Okay, well, yeah, that's
right, and it was it started production in 1971, and Aldo Ray was supposed to be in it, but eventually he dropped out because the production kept like grinding to a halt, and they filmed stuff in 71, and then it just sat there. And finally, somebody purchased it and finished it in 1979 and put it out as Monstroid.
Oh my god. I love it.
Really, really. I mean, this one is so close to the bottom of the barrel, which is, of course, why I love it.
That's where
Yeah,
I live. Yeah, that's where we swim
exactly. And
down there.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have to say anything about Bog that we haven't said already on the show.
Yeah. Oh, Bog. In the review, this week's podcast is Freddy Got Fingered, and Roger Ebert said in his original review, this isn't even the bottom of the barrel. This is below the surface of the bottom of the barrel. In fact, this is an insult to barrels. And then, like a year later, he wrote, I still think about that movie a lot. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Oh, Raj, the joke was on you.
Yeah. Oh, man. Love Exorcist is... Oh, that's Pigs, right? Yeah.
The new version of
With the
Pigs.
Michael Crichton. Yeah. Even The Exorcist failed her. This one starts where The Exorcist leaves off.
I know. Like, that's not where The Exorcist left off.
This is the best line, though. She escaped the asylum, taking with her the unholy obscenity raging within her. If I saw this, the little cactus for the Apache, I would watch anything they played there, right? Like, I'm totally cool with that. But man, everything written in this, and also like it makes it seem like a porn with the art. This is how you make a movie ad.
I think that art is for extreme close-up.
Either way, I mean, it's great. Everything. Lynn Hart, the strange love exorcist.
Her name's not even Lynn Hart in the movie.
Oh, so good though, Bill. It's absolute bullshit to get you in there.
Sure.
Like all this is bullshit.
The whole thing was bullshit to
sure
get you in there because they shot that bullshit exorcism thing scene at the beginning of it. Just for...
That's what we should do someday. Next time you do a theater thing, we should show the Love Exorcist cut.
I'm so glad that that is preserved.
I show that, and then I want to show House of Exorcism, and movies that were re-released. Oh, you know what other movie I wrote? Vengeance of the Zombies was re-released in Germany under an Exorcist title. I'm looking it up right now.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Vengeance of the Zombies with Paul Naschy.
Yeah, it was released in Germany under 3 titles. Rebellion of the Living Dead, obviously a Night of the Living Dead ripoff. Invocation of the Devil, which was the Exorcist title. And it came out like the year the Exorcist came out. In 1980, it was called Bloodlust of the Zombies. To cash in on Dawn of the Dead. And then, as you know, it played US with Dracula Saga. And we talked about before, it came out as Walk of the Dead with a shock notice before every murder. Like, I'm a fan of shock notices, Yeah, David brought up The Possessors, also Return of the Exorcist, because Full Moon released that with the Possessor artwork as well. Oh,
I wondered if you'd ever seen this movie. It's from 1971. It's not the one called The Premonition that came out.
Oh, no. Okay. I've seen The Premonition because that's on the Vinegar Syndrome Homegrown Horror set. No, I don't think I've seen
this. Is one I keep meaning to seek out because I didn't even know anything about it until I started collecting these ads.
That's a great ad, though, isn't it?
I love doing this because it exposes me to so many movies that I had never heard of before. Mm-hmm. Oh, and Vanishing Point is the co-feature.
Whoa. That's great. Oh, no,
should have been gone.
Oh. But how about the Manitou is the third feature, though? Oh.
The Manny U.
The Manny
That's what
U.
it says.
Yeah. Hey, Manny U. And cheerleaders. What cheerleaders? And FM, too. Could you imagine seeing Nurse Sherry and FM together? Really? Like, what a wild thing.
That is strange.
Yeah. Like, I could see Nurse Sherry and the cheerleaders. It makes sense. Nurse Sherry and the Manitou. That makes a lot of sense. But FM?
Oh, no static at all.
No.
I had to show this one too. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. our former our guest Erica just played this in Philadelphia at a theater.
Something terrifying has happened to the children. Pray you never meet them.
Oh, a Bill favorite, and nearly everyone loved this movie. Oh, Dracula Blues.
The
Is
Children
cool.
was a dog of the week.
Yeah, it was. What is Dracula Blues is cool? Is that old Dracula?
No, it's not. It's like a European Dracula comedy.
Whoa. With Silent Rage.
As the second feature.
That's amazing. Chuck Norris should be a bigger name at the drive-in than that.
Well,
what is up with that dog? Like, does he have? Oh, he has fleas because it's a flea market. Okay, cool. He also has Garfield's feet. Like, what's going on?
I think Silent Rage had already played. It was by this time. It wasn't because it wasn't a bigger movie. It was just like a bonus feature, I think.
It was probably out for a while. Yeah.
Everyone had seen it already. Remember when people would only see a movie once?
What were they thinking? Then they got HBO and they're like, I'm gonna watch Sharky's Machine.
No, people would say that all the time. Why do you want to pay to go see that movie again? You already saw it.
Yeah.
Who would say such a thing?
Oh, I love this movie, Bill.
Maybe my favorite Christmas horror movie.
Yeah. Wow, with Boogeyman too.
Yeah.
That's how you fucking do it. You know that. I don't care that the park has bad kerning between the A and the R. I just love that this and that they Nightmares 2 words. Also, Saul Live said he just ordered Drive-In Asylum. So thank you.
Oh, hey, yeah, thanks a lot.
You'll get ads like tons of ads like this without us talking over them.
Yeah. You don't have to hear
I
us.
think the talking. I think that's the fun part. The Slayer has the most metal typeface. It's great. Hey, Bo, you put an ad up this week, and I loved it. The one that's talking shit on Hitchcock. What was that one that you
for the Mephisto waltz?
Yeah, Mephisto waltz. Like, really? Like, I love. You need to do a whole series of that in an upcoming issue of posters that talk shit on Hitchcock, because like I love that genre where they're like oh, like, or it's either like scarier than Hitchcock, or the great one is the Argento one where they're like, frankly, I'm worried about this boy. Something I 100% can tell you that that Hitchcock never said. Like, I will deny that he said that.
What would he be worried about?
Yeah, is he going to meet him?
Even if his movies were
like,
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, like, is he going to meet him? Oh, you're the boy who made the Hatchet murders.
Yeah. I had to meet you because I felt that your work was on a level with mine.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But I guess at that time there was a lot of he's the new Hitchcock. Maybe Hitchcock heard that. I don't know. I don't. Maybe he did. Who knows?
I
just love
things
that like
that all
they
the time.
Yeah, I'm quite worried about that Werner Herzog. Frankly, he worries me. Yeah, but I like ads. Also, ads that talk shit on Psycho. Ads. Do you know what I mean? Like, much scarier than Psycho, where it's like, I like where it's like goes where others can't, or goes past like do you want to go past The Exorcist? Like, yes, I do.
Further than The Exorcist.
Yeah. I want more. Really, Mr. Hitchcock?
This was the ad we were talking about.
Okay. Let me just break down a couple things in there.
Yeah.
Right. One, like you said, probably Rosemary's Baby second run. Right. So it's way down below. Two, a lot of people think Mephisto Waltz is a TV movie. It's not. But it played TV a lot. It was CBS plate movie a lot. I like that they were so willing to talk shit that they're like, you know what? What if we get a picture of Hitchcock in case they don't know who? They might think we're talking about Dr. Hitchcock, but no, we're talking about Mr. Hitchcock. Have you ever made a movie frightening as Mephisto Waltz? What a question. And then, who are the beautiful people of the occult? What savage rituals do they perform? Also, I love that Mephisto Waltz is entirely a movie about a father that wants to have sex with his daughter. Like at the heart of it, it predates what's on Pornhub all the time now. But in a movie with Alan Alda, also about piano player and a journalist who used to play piano. I love it. I have the midnight movie double feature of that and Voodoo Mountain.
What about that De Palma film, Obsession? That had a similar thing too.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. But I love that people watch the Mephisto Waltz and they're like, I think, and they got Rosemary's Baby right after it, and they said, "Is that Anton LaVey dressed up like a demon?" And someone said, "No, it's not." But he will tell you that if you ask him, he will tell you that he was in Rosemary's Baby. Who was he to? Just because it's a good story doesn't mean it has to be true, right, Bill?
Well, yeah, it's better if it's not true.
So much better. Do you think Hitchcock ever saw this ad and he was like, "Those sons of bitches"?
I'm sure if he saw it, he laughed.
Really, Mr. Kubrick, have you made a movie as scary as Prophecy? That's really like that ad. Oh man, I'm a fan.
Who was talking about the scene where Talia Shire screams when she finds the babies caught in the net?
Oh yeah, I can't remember when we were talking about that. Yeah.
There was a post about it online the other day.
Oh man,
that's my favorite part of the movie is when she just starts screaming and she looks down and there's these little bear puppets.
Literally at the end of that movie, like because we were waiting for what was on after it on HBO. And, you didn't know when a movie was going to end on HBO. I remember we turned that on just at the point where the mutated bear comes out at the end. And I screamed and just ran around my house. That was probably like 7. I was so freaked out by it. I was like, why would they show that? And today I'm like, pretty awesome. But, young kid Sam was so not ready for what he was confronted.
How dare they scare the shit out of me.
Oh, my little fat body was crying. But thanks to everybody for hanging out. We still got 10 people on Facebook. I can't see YouTube, but
24 in total.
Holy cow. Man, that's a lot of
YouTubers are outnumbering the Facebookers.
Wow, you've grown this YouTube audience. Hello, YouTubers. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you guys hanging out and watching the show tonight.
I feel really bad because the YouTubers can't actually see the Facebook chat and vice versa. So it's really, I wish I could merge it somehow.
I will tell you that nobody is talking shit on one another. Don't feel that. Don't feel like any that maybe they're saying mean stuff. No, they're very appreciative of one another. So there's that. There's also YouTubers that watch the show throughout the week. If they can't, go figure. Some people don't want to stay up till 3 a.m. to watch us talk about movies, and they prefer to watch it on their own schedule. If that's you, you're being triggered by this comment. Hi, thanks for watching the show. We appreciate it, no matter when you watch it, or maybe you're watching it again.
We just do it at this time because this is the only time we could do it.
Yeah.
when else would you or I have the time to do something?
I was thinking about that. Like I was really depressed the other day because I felt like nobody was listening to me. This happens, right? In your life, and I think nobody listens to me. No one cares. And I'm like, you know what? In a couple days, I'm going to get to talk about the Mephisto Waltz and how fathers sleeping with their daughters. So it'll be, and people will, for some reason, want to listen and stay up all night and listen to that. So I was like, you know what? It'll be cool. I'll do it. We'll handle it. So thank you for coming on and listening to me. And at least someone wants to hear me out. So I appreciate it.
That's next week. Oh my God.
Oh, right.
I can't even believe next week's pair of movies because they're just stunning. The Picks and Private Parts.
I love Private Parts so much. And I'm excited to see the ads coming out for it. Because I know that there's some different ads and some change ups for it. So I'm excited to see what you find. So that'll be exciting.
It has an amazing alternate title.
Yeah. I'm super excited for that. That's the stuff this show's made of.
You're not even going to believe it.
I got to figure out what drinks to make for it. I mean, the Picks might be a little easier, but man, I don't know. The Picks is so good.
Well, here's your challenge. Come up with something that's clear, and then you have to inject some red stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, and like I get like a syringe of stuff to put in it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Here's your challenge: drink it out of a blow-up doll.
You don't have to go to all that trouble.
You don't have to do that. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming on out and watching stuff.
Yeah,
we're excited to come back next week. Don't forget, tell your friends throughout the week. Be like, hey, maybe you should watch the show on Saturday nights, and we'll grow even bigger.
Thanks again to Lee and Steve for sponsoring the program.
Thank you so much, guys.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you want to sponsor an episode, you can send a small PayPal donation to groovydoom@gmail.com via PayPal.
Yeah. And if you'd like me to write something for you on my site, there's a Ko-fi link. A lot of folks in the chat are subscribers, so thank you very much. And I will write several movies on the site for you, or I will do a podcast episode for you if you contribute. And you can pick the movie and I'll talk about it, which is always fun.
Special thanks to Hot Toddy for doing some stunts at the beginning of the episode, a death-defying walk over 2 glasses. And also thanks to Damon Brazell for that groovy tune for the comeback.
Yeah. And
we appreciate you.
And yeah, don't forget to get Driving Asylum on Etsy. The new issue. It's still a new issue, right? Or we can still call it a new issue.
Yeah, it's still newish.
Yeah.
That's as new as it's going to get.
Yeah.
For a little while. So
I've been slowly reading it. I save it so that I can get through it.
I love when you say that.
Yeah, I do, because it's such a good time to read, and it's like I don't want to read it too fast, like because like it's like something to look forward to, you know. There's
way more stuff to read in it now than there was when I started doing it. So
sometimes I'll go and pull out an old issue though and read through, and I'm like, man, like the shark issue. I love that issue. There's so much fun stuff in that issue, and
that's probably our most dense issue.
Yeah. I remember when it came in the mail, it was like, wow, there's so many pages in this issue, and we have like the shark hunter trading cards, which is a ridiculous idea, and then you're like, yeah, do it. Like, okay, and
that was not a ridiculous idea.
It's one of my favorite goofy things that's in there. And we talked about originally we were going to take bites out of the cover and make them red. And we're like, how are we going to do that? And I love sharksploitation. There's a new sharksploitation movie Under Paris that's on Netflix.
I saw
a lot of
that.
people are talking about, so maybe I might have to check that out.
There's a big shark.
I'm going to give you a spoiler. I found a sequel to Tintuera that was shot on video by Rene Cardona Jr. On YouTube.
What?
Yeah, it's like a spiritual sequel to it. It's called Furia Asina, and it's going to be on the site on Monday. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
You've been sitting on this information for how long?
I wanted to tell you in person. I didn't want to. It wasn't a text. This was like, it's nowhere near as Tintuera, right? But it has some real fish violence. A swordfish is actually eaten by a shark in it. There's a lot of nature footage, but he shot a lot of underwater stuff, and it's very bleak. It's got like a bleak ending. It's cool. I really dug it.
Just like Tintuera.
But it doesn't have like what you're coming to Tintuera for, which is not sharks. It's 2 guys using a girl as the middleman. But you know.
Well,
but so I'm so sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I just wanted to tell you in person because I found it. Because part of me was like, I read about it. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to find it. And then I found it. And I was like,
well, I thought I was going to bed, but it looks like I'm going to stay up and watch Tintuera too. Your next Asylum double feature, 8 p.m. next Saturday. The picks, private parts, be there.
See you guys.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
17 not admitted without parents or guardian.